himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike could have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, and
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros is going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Race series. We're now a quarter of the way through season 3 in 2023 and we stay within the British Isles after a trip to Knockhill for the first time ever, we believe, in this series last week. We're up to Oulton Park now, or down I guess from Scotland to Oulton Park here in the northwest. It's great to be back once again, 2 seasons after we were last here, and we had a fantastic race, a fantastic couple of races that unfortunately spelled the end of Dan Webster's title challenge that season, but it did give us 3 protagonists for that particular one. John McCutcheon, Simon Edwards and Luke Maxwell were all right up there in season 1 of 2023, and it was all due to this round right here. We're using the full layout without the chicanes here today, just to allow that little bit better of an opportunity to maybe have a few overtakes around here, which will hopefully transpire over the course of the evening. But let's wait and see. My name is Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside James Parfitt here for the evening. We do often go back to those couple of races 2 seasons ago, I should say. But it's a very different situation this time around, and about 6 months further on as well, 4 months further on as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Oulton Park's a wonderful circuit, first off. So, you know, we know Oulton Park here as well. It's without all of the chicanes. It's going to provide some epic action. We are a bit light on the grid. We've only got 13 drivers. Daryl Taylor is currently sat in Silverstone in a tent enjoying a bottle of Prosecco. So, fair play to Daryl Taylor. Paul Clark is in Hyde Park watching Bruce Springsteen once again. He has kind of stalked him for the whole of the summer. And then we've also lost Simon Edwards and Seth Brown, but it is probably Simon Edwards, the most notable absentee, shall we say, who is not here this evening.
Yeah, we've got quite a few notable absentees. We've got people at the British Grand Prix and all sorts over the course of this weekend. And you might be wondering why, because it's Thursday, but course, it all kicks off tomorrow, and I guess people go the day before, so whatever. That's taken away from our grid a little bit as well. So we are a little bit lighter on numbers, and I wonder how that is going to change things here, because in the reverse grid race, it doesn't actually change how many drivers actually get reversed. Now, of course, you do need to take part to get involved within that top 10 and whatever, and benefit from that reverse. But even so, I'm not sure it's going to have too much of a bearing on how this is actually raced, because after all, the drivers are kind of where they would be anyway in terms of their positioning in this practice session. That will be the case when we get towards qualifying as well, and I'm not sure that a slightly smaller field will change all that much in the course of this these proceedings here this afternoon.
No, I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to affect anything. I think the racing is still going to be amazing. We see the same quality of racing, whether we've got 10 cars, 20 cars. Here, these guys bring it every single time. And regardless of the amount of cars on the grid, we've still got Luke Maxwell, we've still got Paul LeMay, we've still got Mark Hutchinson, and we've still got Buson. So they're, you know, out of everyone, they're probably the fastest in the session at the moment. It's not going to affect anything at all. The racing is still going to be amazing. Good evening, Potato Seagull. How are you? Good evening, he says. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So I think overall it doesn't matter, to be honest. You and these guys put on a show every single week, and I don't think this today or tonight is going to be any different.
Well, let's wait and see, shall we? Let's have a look at the championship standings coming into today as well, because we are 3 rounds down now, and it's starting to become a little bit important. And John McCutcheon has taken the championship lead after the last round at Knockhill, which has given him 12 points over Simon Edwards. Seth Brown and Mike Booson exchanged places in that last round as well, but Mike Booson is here, whereas Seth Brown isn't tonight, so you'd imagine those positions are going to reverse back again as long as Booson gets to the end of either race today. Jamie Bird is here, and he's 5th in the standings, along with Damien G. Both of those drivers didn't move last time. Paul Godden, Darrell Taylor, Colin Wynne and James Child all moved into the top 10 last week, with Phil Glover just missing out there. Wayne Palmer, Michael LeMay, David Roston all dropped outside of the top 10, with Paul LeMay dropping further down as well, but I believe he's back again tonight to make his second appearance this season, as is Luke Maxwell, who's tied on points with Robert Woodward. They're all on 53 points. Graham Brown is in 18th, but of George Gonzaga and Phil Jocelyn, who's running at the top 20. Then we've got Paul Crabb, who's a long way down considering his pace. Martina Ward's 22nd, as Sergio De La Cruz, then David Peasy. Tim Adcock 25th. Chris Max Davis is 26th, but very poorly. Ben Underdown still hasn't scored any points yet this season. I think that was the case for quite a long time last season for him as well, I seem to remember, but he'll make a comeback at some point. I'm fairly certain of that. 3.5 minutes remaining, and we were speaking, James, just before we came on air here, about what an important day this is for Luke Maxwell in terms of the championship. He's already used 2 of his drop rounds on rounds he won't be here for, and hasn't been here for 2 out of the 3 rounds so far. That has been the case for him, so he can't afford to drop points anywhere. He's got to gain some as well, and today is going to be when he does that.
Well, hopefully, because at the end of the day, he hasn't got the likes of Simon Edwards breathing down his neck either. He's the only man in the 18s currently at the moment here as well. And I think at the end of the day, he's got an opportunity now to put some big points on the board, as have basically everyone that's here. With the notable absentees, of course, you know, these guys have got the opportunity now to get some decent points on the board. And then that's what they've got to look at trying to do. They need to go up as high as they can. You know, they get 25 for a win in the sprint, 40 in the feature, so there's a lot of points on offer here this evening, and with these guys missing, there's a lot of people that can move up through this championship this week, and I think that's going to be the exciting thing about this race. Good evening, Callum Milam, hope you are well, thanks so much for joining us. But yeah, the opportunity for everyone. Luke Maxwell especially has got an opportunity to take 65 points here if he can. It's going to be a good fight. I'm going to be excited about it, and I think it's going to be epic, even with the small grid.
Yep, it should be just over a couple of minutes remaining as well, and yeah, it's going to be a very big chance for everybody to gain back those points. And I wonder who he's going to be able to do that. I've got to think about Paul LeMay as well and put him into the same bracket as Luke Maxwell, because he's only been at 1 round so far, which is pretty unusual compared to some of the rest of the field. But it was all about John McCutcheon last week at Knockhill, won by absolute miles, you've got to say. And wasn't really challenged at any point either. It was him and Simon Edwards who were head and shoulders above the rest, and in the second race, McCutcheon was able to get himself through the field a lot easier than Edwards was. He could do without that maybe over the course of tonight's race, but either way, he'll pull to the inside now and return back to pit lane, get ready for qualifying. But he's in the championship lead, deservedly so as well, and by the end of today, he could have more than 70 points of a championship lead if we're looking at total points, because that's the situation he's been presented with here.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it probably didn't help Edwards. Obviously, he got caught up in the feature race beginning with the incident that happened there as well with Bird, Brown and himself was involved in that. So at the end of the day, that's really did not help Simon Edwards whatsoever. You know, a big shout out obviously to George Gonzaga, who took second, and Taylor, who took third, but at the end of the day, it did really affect Simon Edwards' chance, and it's put John McHutchinson, 12 points ahead of him currently at the moment, and with that double win last week as well, he is looking like he's going to go out and defend his crown. I can't see people getting near him. The Scotsman just looks on fire. He doesn't look so good here, however. He's being outpaced by Luke Maxwell, but generally I think McHutchinson manages that traffic really well on that top 10 reverse for race 2. They've got 11 laps for the sprint. It's 18, I think it is, for the feature. So he's got 18 laps to pick his way through, and we know how tricky this is. Cascades is going to be a big one. Island Bend as well. We've seen a few people go off at Island already, and once you hit the grass at Island, the only place you're going is into the tyre barrier. There is literally no stopping it, unless by some obscene miracle you manage to miss all of the tyre barriers running down into Shell Oils. Unfortunately, it's game over. So there's a lot of tricky parts on here, and they've got that straight run up to Knickerbrook as well. There's no Britons, no Hislops in the middle. It's going to be very difficult for some of these drivers, and they've got to play it by ear. Colin Wynn went off in practice as well. He's already been off at Islands as well. We've seen the likes of David Beasley have an issue, and there's a lot at stake for these guys, and they've just got to really play it by how comfortable they are on that reverse grid. They cannot be forcing the situation, not with the low field, because they're still on for a bunch of points.
You are right, by the way. It's 11 and 18 laps tonight, as it will be next week, incidentally, which doesn't happen very often. We're at Laguna Seca in 1 week's time, which will kick off 3 American rounds in 5 weeks. Now, I know we spoke a lot last season about the American start to our season, and it really was remarkable. But I guess Irish is American. But yes, 3 American circuits in 5. We're at Jerez the week after next, though, which is, I think, the first time that's happened all season. It's only been on the service since the start of last season, and usually they put new tracks in all of the schedules for a new season, but I don't think they put it in this one. Silverstone's back again in at the end of July, and that will be good to return there. Always like going to Silverstone. Then we've got Sebring Road Atlanta. Sebring, a pretty uninspiring circuit as far as I'm concerned, but anyway, Road Atlanta should make up for it. It's a good circuit to end off our American little section there. Then we've got Bathurst again, which you seem to have every season, but I'm not going to complain about that at all. Interlagos is back as well, which I'm looking forward to, and Mosport is the finale. Something different from the North Side as well, which I'm very glad about to end off our season. It's a decent schedule, as we've said in the past, and it's a little bit of a different ending to this one as well. Bathurst is going to quickly become the new Northside, though, if it crops up on these schedules too much more regularly, because we've seen it quite a few times over the course of 2023.
Yeah, it seems to be because obviously a lot of people follow the official schedule, and they seem to whack it on every series possible, I think, as well. It's the thing is, it's exactly the same week as it was in last season. It's week 10 last season. It's week 10 this season as well. So they haven't even changed the weeks on where they put it. There's loads of different tracks on there. And Knockhill was a prime example, I think, last week. We went there for the first time ever, I think, as far as I can remember, with these cars. And it was incredible racing. And I don't see why they don't use it more. It's just one of them things, and I would love to see Knockhill on the official calendar and take off some of the old guard, shall we say, the regulars that seem to be on there every single season. It's a bit of a shame, but there we go. That's what we do at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can't see that happening personally.
No.
If I'm honest, but we can easily change that ourselves, I suppose, in the Radical Race Series, and that's what we like about it. Luke Maxwell has gone to the top of the times then with this opening round of qualifying laps. George Gonzaga is actually in second place, and a good lap time from him, and even ahead of Mike Poussin there. And there is the yellow and black machine of Gonzaga, very noticeable, almost in a checkered flag pattern. Just with the slightly wrong colours. Not sure what's happened to John McCutcheon. He's got no time on the board, and I don't know whether that was is this his out lap or has he just got an off track on this lap. He's lagging way behind everybody else for whatever reason here. I think that was an out lap, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was. I think this is his first flying. I'm not entirely sure what happened on the last time. Maybe he was late coming out the pits. He hasn't actually. This is his first actual flying lap, so he hasn't actually done a lap before this. So maybe he was just late coming out the pits here as well. See what he does. Maybe he was waiting to see what the benchmark was. I don't know.
That's exactly it. He's going to have the exact benchmark of everybody else by the time he gets to the line. George Gonzaga goes to the top, quickly eclipsed by Poussin, and then Luke Maxwell as they all go over the line together. That was very, very quickly changing between the top three, and it looks like the May and Woodward are right up there in terms of qualifying pace here as well. This is McCutcheon only on his second lap, only on his first lap, whereas the others are on their second. I'd be surprised if McCutcheon can actually get near to the others at the moment, but if he does, then that will heap a whole load of pressure on Maxwell, who didn't seem to have a very good line out of turn one when we joined up with him just after he crossed the line there. So he's got a bit of work to do on this third and final lap. We are back to 3 limited lap times, by the way, rather than the 6 we got at Knock Hill because it's so short. Out of the final corner now for John McCutcheon on the first lap of the day. He could well put his foot on the table and say this is going to be mine. It's not quite yet. Fourth for McCutcheon. LeMay goes to the top just behind him. He'll have one more after this one. Here comes Luke Maxwell, though. This could be the pole position lap, and it needs to be if he's going to take pole.
Yeah, it definitely does. He's got to put the effort in here. He's got 2 greens, 2 yellows, and a purple sector. So he is making improvements, but it depends on how much he's lost in them yellows, whether or not he's made it up in the purple and the greens, of course. He does. 119.280. The only man here in the 119 below the 119.3. So Paul LeMay is still going to have to go again here as he's on that run now up into Hislop's currently at the moment, and he's got he's yellow. There's no real improvements. McCutcheon's got some greens on the board. He's a little bit of ahead of where LeMay is on track. Damien G is onto a flyer as well. He puts himself into 10th. Phil Jocelyn moves up 1 spot here as well, but I think it's going to be John McCutcheon who's going to be the first one over the line between himself and Paul LeMay. LeMay's not improving here, Ewan. That's the thing. He's only got 1 and he's still not improving even in the second to last sector.
Yeah, it's not looking good for LeMay, and this is going to be the end of his session at the conclusion of this lap. McCutcheon goes over the line against the purple sector right at the end. He will need the third and final lap, though. He will need one more, so this is going to come right down to the end. And at the moment, judging by the times, unless I'm mistaken, McCutcheon needs to find an awful lot of time as well, and I'm not sure he's quite going to manage it. LeMay's going to stay second by the looks of it. So it's Maxwell, LeMay, McCutcheon, Poussin, the top 4. And I am indeed mistaken. It's only a 10th and a half or so that McCutcheon needs to find, but he still needs to get the lap time in here, and it's not going to be easy for him in the final couple of moments. No,
it's definitely not here as well. We've got. I love Colin Wynn. He's jumped in chat. We're boyfriends this week. He's called us evening boyfriends. So thank you, Colin. It changes every single week. At one point, we might get our names in there. You never know. And miracles do happen. McCutcheon's got the greens on. He's got the yellows on as well. So it's at what time, the offset of time, he's losing. Bumps the curb there out of Hislop's as well. That's not going to help him. But it depends on what he's going to do here. He's yellow again. He's not looking too clever at the moment from Mr. McCutcheon. Has them greens offset what his yellows have done? Well, we're yellow again, so I don't think this is going to be an improvement. I mean, if it is, it's only going to be slight, but I don't think it's going to be pole.
Well, you never know. With John McCutcheon out of the final corner he comes. It's purple at the end. Isn't enough. He will stay where he is by the looks of it. It's not even going to be an improvement for John McCutcheon. Jamie Bird's actually not finished with this session for whatever reason, and he'll come over the line right now, but that it will be an improvement for him, I think.
Yes.
And it's 6th place, onto the 3rd row at the very end for Jamie Bird, so nice improvement from him, but Luke Maxwell holds on, and an interesting strategy from McCutcheon to wait as well, because he will have known exactly what he needed to achieve with that final lap time, whereas the others were kind of running blind and just doing their own thing. I wonder if it was a help or a hindrance for John McCutcheon to know what he had to do with that very last lap.
I think being given that he's got the time, I think it would probably be no more than a help to know what time he's going up against. He saw what Maxwell did. He knew what he had to get. And Paul Lemay is looking very, very strong. He obviously has just come back. He has been back from an injury. So for him to pop it into 2nd place is incredible for him. But I think McCutcheon's got a little bit more in the kitty. I think there's a little bit more there for John McCutcheon, and I think from his point of view he will show that in the race. Whether or not he's going to be able to jump Maxwell, I don't know, because Maxwell is looking incredibly strong, so we'll have to see.
We certainly will. And now we have the final 3/4 of a minute, which means absolutely nothing for the course of this qualifying session, but a very close field. I think we can be encouraged by 8 drivers within 1 second, which doesn't happen very often. I know it's a short circuit, but even so, it's encouraging to see that everybody's so close together. And we've got multiple candidates for the race win here. It's just a case really about how easy it's going to be to overtake at Oulton Park, which can be a problem on occasion.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be the issue. I think it's the narrow track of it. They've got that run down into Hislops. They can have a go. They've got the run down into Islands, maybe, if they can get a good run out of Cascades as well. But it is going to be so difficult. If everyone doesn't, if they all survive, I would be so impressed. And I think that's one of the things that is going to be here this evening as well, is about how much they're going to be able to survive here as well. Short field, short grid, but it's on your screen now.
Let's have a look. Luke Maxwell and Paul Lemay on the front row together, with John McCutcheon and Mike Burson, teammates, on the 2nd row. George Gonzaga and Jamie Bird are behind them, with David Beasley and Michael Lemay still within a 2nd. Robert Woodward and Scott Lear inside the top 10, with Colin Wynn and Damien G on row 6. And the final driver, Phil Jocelyn, makes up the smaller 13-car grid here for this one. It's going to be an important start for Maxwell. He's not been in this position for quite a while, getting pole position. He'll need to take this race 1 win home with him. He'd like to at least lead him towards turn 1 in this race.
Yeah, I think he's going to want to have a go there as well. Colin Wynn, I do love your optimism. I bet I don't finish either race, says Colin, and does look like it's going to be very close racing. It definitely is here as well, and I think that's going to be the exciting thing of what we're going to be looking out for once more. But yeah, Luke Maxwell sitting there on pole position, doing an absolutely stellar job. We're just waiting for McCutcheon and Buson currently at the moment, so we'll just have to sit and wait for them and see how long it takes them to get on the grid.
Well, ages looks to be the answer to that. I know that Buson takes his time quite often, and McCutcheon does as well, and they're really taking the you know what at the moment. Here we are. They're onto the grid now, and we can finally get the lights on. The first race at Oulton Park here tonight. Round 4 of the Radical Race Series for Season 3 in 2023 is now finally underway. What start has Luke Maxwell been able to get here from the front? It's a good one. McCutcheon has as well. He's on the outside line of LeMay in towards turn 1, but the top 4 will stay as they are. In fact, the top 6 or 7 will as well, as they plunge downhill. Maxwell has gotten away from the rest of the field, in fact, with Gonzaga down the inside of Bird. Now there's positional changes happening for 5th, and there's one for 2nd as well, as LeMay briefly got into that place. He went wide through turn 2, and that short-lived moment in 2nd place has come to an end already.
Yeah, LeMay made a mistake coming out of Cascades, which is what we said he didn't really want to be doing. Maxwell was basically just gone. He is checked out already. He is absolutely flying. 1.5 seconds out in front. The battle's really going to be for 2nd place. Can LeMay get past McCutcheon? Bird got past Gonzaga. Gonzaga got past him there as well. One of the absolute flyers at the moment is the man that said he wasn't going to finish, and that's Mr. Colin Wynn there as well, who is currently now up 4 places and doing an absolutely absolutely stellar job here. But Damien G's fighting out round the back here with Scott Lear and Phil Jocelyn as well. So they're going at it once more. And Gonzaga's got Bird for company once again as they come down into the last corner. Bird's gone in, manages to make it through, and a pass from Jamie Bird.
Yep, nice pass in towards the final corner, and he's going to have a bit of pressure into turn one as well to hold that, but Gonzaga decides again from bang it down the inside. Oh, well, does he? He's going to have the exit as well, and Colin Wynn will get involved. Now he'll look at the inside at turn 3. That's a late move from him, and Gonzaga has gone from looking for 5th place to backwards at 7th now, although he's got a better exit out of turn 3, and he'll be back alongside by the very fast left-hander. Backs out because it's a pretty dangerous one to do side by side. He will have a look, oh dear, into the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit there as well. That could have been dangerous, but he's decided to back out of that one as well. It's really created a big battle for 5th place here, and the top 4 have gotten away. They're not really fighting with each other like these guys are. This is where the action is at the moment. Gonzaga on the outside going up towards Knickerbrook, and he's going to just back out in towards here, and maybe he can repeat the move that was done to him maybe at the final corner.
Yeah, but he hasn't got many options. He's not going to be able to run him round Druids. Too wide round there is just too dangerous. Colin Wynn is up 5 places, mind you, so he's doing an absolute flyer. I'm not quite sure what just happened to Gonzaga there, but hopefully that won't continue.
Oh! Scott Lear. Sorry, I just saw a car flying in the background, and I'm pretty sure it was Scott Lear, who's out of the race now as well. Seth Brown, but he's not here. Oh dear, he's just locked up on the way into Druids. He's just nosed it into the wall. That's a frustrating one, but it just shows that the smallest of mistakes don't go unpunished around this circuit, unfortunately.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. There's, you know, it's grass, isn't it? You know, there's nothing on the grass. There's nothing on grass in iRacing whatsoever. So as soon as he hit it, he was never going to stop it in time. And unfortunately, he just went nose deep into the barrier, and he's out of the race, unfortunately, for race 1. But Gonzaga's still battling away with Wynn.
Oh,
no.
George Gonzaga down the inside, and Colin Wynn is forced out wide. There's a lot of contact there. LeMay can go through. Michael LeMay, that is, into 6th place. David Beasley makes up 1, and Robert Woodward will try to do so as well, but that was all very messy. I don't think Gonzaga even tried to go down the inside there, just broke quite late. He found himself down the inside of Colin Wynn, who's now losing more places. Beasley's through. Robert Woodward will be alongside as well. Cracks a little bit. He'll have to stay behind for the moment, but that was all a bit of a mess into the hairpin.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he completely just missed his braking point. I've got a funny feeling that's exactly what happened here. He just missed his braking point, and I don't even know if he was Whoa, Robert Woodward. He was already on the brakes, mind you, so he's managed to survive at Lodge. But yeah, unfortunately for Gonzaga, this is what happened. I just think he missed his braking point here, Ewan, and ended up into the side of Colin Wynn.
Yeah, I think so. Didn't intend to do that at all, I don't think, but has punished himself more than anything. I think Woodward actually hit him there, didn't he?
Woodward caught him as well.
Yeah, that's not ideal. I don't think it contributed to Woodward's late braking at the final corner there at all, but it kind of helped his car health at that stage. But yeah, it looks like John McCutcheon's put late on the brakes manoeuvres to a bit better use. He's been through on Paul LeMay. Not sure where he got that done actually, but he is up into 2nd place at least.
Yeah, he did manage to get through as well, so he got past him there, so job done for McHutchinson. This was basically back again. I think it was back down on lap 1. That was where obviously LeMay ran wide. Yeah, and he ran through, and it was already done at the beginning of the race there for McHutchinson. LeMay's coming back at him. There's a big puff of smoke from McHutchinson there. Damien G's now battling away further down the order with Colin Wynn once more down in 9th and 8th currently, and Maxwell's just put the fastest lap in on a 1:19.2, so Maxwell is absolutely flying here, should we say, and yeah, he's making a big indent in this gap. He's opened it up to 1.8 seconds.
Apologies, I forgot entirely that McCutcheon made that move on the start, but LeMay looks like he's actually making a few inroads back towards the driver in 2nd place at the moment, and that is good news for the man we're riding on board with him. And a little bit of a change to what we saw from last week with McCutcheon, where he looked absolutely undefeatable and just bulletproof, but that's not the case around here quite clearly. as quick. Matro seems to have the measure of it, and right now LeMay even looks a bit quicker, although we do run into the problem very quickly of where is LeMay going to get through on McCutcheon, because while he's close, he's nowhere near close enough for any move around this circuit where there are very minimal big braking zones. You can make up a lot of time and make up positions traditionally.
Yeah, I think that's what separates Oulton Park. I think the nature of the circuit provides great racing, but the narrowness of it at certain points doesn't provide great overtakes. If you're going to get through, you've got to get through, with people make a mistake like LeMay did at the beginning. He made that mistake and McCutcheon capitalised on it. It looks like Wynn has got past Beasley further down as well, so them guys are battling it out still here. So they've got a nice little tidy battle going out with Colin Wynn, David Beasley and Damien G. So it looked like Wynn capitalised on that and passed David Beasley and passed Damien G. So he's now back up into 6th. So Colin's showing that he's got pace, recovering form after he missed pretty much nearly all of last season, if I remember correctly, as well, through injury. So he's getting back with that SR10 under his feet, and he's now getting on a good move. A little bit more optimistic than he was in YouTube chat, clearly. Damien G, however, another one that's returned this season as well. Didn't really see much of Damien G last season. Regular in the SR10 officials. Him and Gary Truby together, both in the red spot. And
sorry, McCutcheon's is off, and well, he was wide anyway at Knickerbrook, and now he's lost at second place to LeMay. Wilson has closed on him as well. This is how it happened. I've noticed he's been pretty risky with this corner. He's been high commitment, but that's off in the wall. We saw him do that in practice just as we came to air and just before qualifying, and it's bitten him. Clearly he's struggling with that corner.
yeah, he looks like he's just trying to carry too much speed through it, and unfortunately for him, he carried too much that time, and it put him out on that grass area. He was lucky to miss the barrier, to be fair, because I can guarantee from his cockpit kind of view, it looked a lot closer than what it actually was, because he's come round Knickerbrook now, he's hit that grass, and there he is up, and he just squeezes in there.
That would have got the heart racing there for sure, because that looked very, very close from the onboard camera, whereas it didn't really from our cameras. And he's got to pick himself up very quickly, because Mike Booson's right there and will be willing to take that podium away from him very quickly as well if he can.
Yeah, he wants to go. You know, obviously, you know, we know there's no team orders. We've spoke about it before, and there isn't. And Bouson's now got to see whether or not he can carry the pace up to McCutcheon. Not really making an inroad at the moment. Beasley and G are side by side. Don't want to be doing this down into Knickerbrook, I'm not going to lie. From Beasley's point of view, yeesh, I think G backed out and let him have it, to be honest, on that one.
Best idea to nature of that corner. There's an important battle for 10th place about to happen, by the way, between Robert Woodward and George Gonzaga, who did clash earlier on. Not really due to anyone's fault, but Gonzaga was spun around right in front of Woodward, who didn't have anywhere to go in the end. And you can tell what happened. So the reason why it's important is because it's for 10th place, and we still have the top 10 reversed by the end of this race before the start of the next one, which will be 18 laps as we've earlier reported. But they'll both really want to start on pole for that, and they'll really not want to start in 11th place, which is going to make it very, very interesting between these two. Yeah,
Gonzaga looks like he's a little bit more twitchy here. There seems to be a lot of movement in this steering wheel. Obviously, we're heading down to the site of his accident, where I still believe he missed his braking point and just kind of tried to move the car out of the way. And unfortunately for Colin Wynn, he was caught up in it. But see how look at that! Look. Whoa. He is so twitchy under braking currently. I wonder if there is damage there somewhere on that car, because he did get hit by Woodward after. But he just looks very, very edgy on the steering wheel, and he's got to try and be a little bit, I want to say smoother, but if he's carrying damage, he's probably doing the best he can do at the moment.
He's wiggling that steering wheel everywhere, even on the straights. Look at him through these very slight meandering bends towards Druids. No idea why he's changing the angle of steering so often, but really for some drivers that does just work. Other drivers prefer to be a lot smoother, but yeah, for some reason he's really changing angle at almost every moment. But
I don't know if he's carrying some steering damage, and that's why he's got to correct it under high speed. He's already left hand down. You can see him a little bit there as well. So he's got to overcorrect when he turns right, because he's got to get the car to turn right, which isn't always possible. And if he is carrying steering damage, he's got to overturn the left. Look how much look he's putting in to get round Cascades, and that could be what he's carrying currently at the moment. It looks like he's carrying some sort of damage in that SR10, and I know it's a nightmare to drive if there's damage on it, especially if one side's you've got more rotation on the other side than you have on the original damage side as well. So maybe that's what's causing his issue currently at the moment.
It's very bizarre the way he's driving that car, and that would point towards damage, but the way he's driving as well doesn't look like damage, so I can't really work out what's going on there. He's still close in this battle for 10th place, though. Robert Woodward will really want to keep him behind, and they don't seem to be enough laps left in the race, quite frankly, to catch Phil Jostson, even if they did have the pace. So it's going to be all bets are off for this battle by the looks of it. He's very close. He's Gonzaga. He looks to the inside and backs out of it. Woodward brakes quite late, though. He's locked up and he's been put off entirely by the pressure by the looks of it. Don't think Gonzaga got quite a good enough run out of the final corner there to go for it into turn one, but he will try, and it's half-hearted really. He'll stay behind one more lap, but there's only 2 more to go, including the one that just started.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit more committed. I think there was a gap there, but he just kind of, as you say, half-heartedly went for it. He didn't really put the amount of effort in. He's now going to go for it out here. I wouldn't be even trying on that one, because it was, possible that Woodward could have just come on the inside there. Gonzaga's got to have a go now. He hasn't got many opportunities left to try and make this time and make this overtake, so he's got to have a go at some point. Hutchin as well is also looking here. Gonzaga's trying to go up the inside. This might not work. Woodward gives him the line, and he's looking for the run out on the final lap of the race.
It will be the final lap when these two cross the line, but they are quite a long way behind the leaders. Let's not forget, side by side on the run through this gently changing section up towards Druids, and now towards the final corner as well. John McCutcheon very close to Paul LeMay as well, by the way, for second place, so it's going to be quite hard to know quite which one to look at for the moment. Woodward has held on for another lap by the looks of things, and Gonzaga will stay behind for the moment, but McCutcheon is gaining lots on LeMay. It seems that now he's put that mistake behind him at Knickerbrook. He's been able to just push forward slightly and try to take this second place away. Maxwell's going to take the win here, surely you would think, but McCutcheon's going to give this a go on Paul LeMay, who will stay in the middle of the road. He'll give McCutcheon the choice of lines, and he doesn't decide either of them. He decides to stay behind for now. Oh my, that's a big slide from LeMay. Now McCutcheon will go to the inside through Druids. Would have had that place all sewn up, I think, LeMay, but that slight error has cost him. McCutcheon's gone through on the inside, and that should be the place now, but it's not over. Final corner is coming up, and it looks like LeMay will stay behind. Out front it will be Luke Maxwell, who takes the first win here at Oulton Park. Race 1 goes to him. John McCutcheon takes second place, just ahead of Paul LeMay. Mike Booson and Jamie Bird will round out the top 5. Can George Gonzaga get through here on Robert Woodward right at the end? It's going to be quite a last-minute lunge for him, and I don't think he's going to manage it. So Robert Woodward will start race 2 on pole position. Yeah,
I think Woodward's going to have it. Gonzaga just didn't quite get the definitive move done there, and unfortunately he's starting where he is. Michael LeMay, final man on the track, coming over the line there as well. So Michael LeMay, but it was an epic battle between McCutcheon. One mistake for LeMay, and he ended up on the 3rd place. That's all it takes.
Absolutely. Luke Maxwell wins the race by 4 seconds ahead of John McCutcheon and Paul LeMay. It's Mike Booson and Jamie Bird inside the top 5. Colin Wynn, a nice 6th place for him ahead of Damien G. David Beasley, quite quiet in that race, but 8th place for him ahead of Phil Justin. Robert Woodward, as we just said, Cole John to 10th, ahead of George Gonzaga and Michael LeMay. And Scott Lear, unfortunately, 10 laps down after his accident at Druids in that race. Well, that's the first 11 laps of today complete. Another 18 coming up, and as we expected at Oulton Park, it was relatively difficult to overtake, in all honesty. That's going to mean we get to see an interesting second race here, because the fastest drivers will be pretty much towards the back. For example, the race winner Luke, so starting from 10th place. It's going to be about staying out of trouble in the opening lap, as we saw was so important at Knock Hill last week especially. But then it's going to be about overtaking and who can actually manage it, because clearly it is possible, as John McCutcheon showed at the last lap there.
Yeah, he definitely did. He waited for LeMay to make a mistake and then went through on it. So it's going to be about who's going to be able to come back through this field. Maxwell is looking unstoppable. I'm not going to lie. He is looking mightily quick. And if he gets a run off that first lap, it's going to be interesting to see how everybody else is going to keep up with him. He's going to have McCutcheon right beside him. The biggest thing he's got to do is try and jump McCutcheon at the start. That's without a shadow of a doubt. He's got to get past him and get in front of him and start leading McCutcheon, because every car that Maxwell takes, McCutcheon's got to do the same, which puts the pressure on McCutcheon by saying to him, well, I've gone through, you've got to go through. So McCutcheon will be under a lot more pressure only if Maxwell can get off the start and jump him into turn one.
Let's see how it's all going to transpire over the course of the 18 laps. Still a few drivers out there for the very short warm-up session you get between the two races. That serves nothing but a bit of a break, really, between the two races. Otherwise, it would be a very quick turnaround, which some drivers may not like. But let's have a look at the starting grid with Robert Woodward and Phil Justin on the front. David Beasley and Damien G on the second row ahead of Colin Wynne and Jamie Bird. Mike Brewson and Paul LeMay from the fourth row ahead of John McCutcheon and Luke Maxwell. George Gonzaga and Michael LeMay are starting where they finished, and so is Scott Lear at the very back there. I think what's noticeable about that grid, though, is the fact that none of the front runners actually had any issues during that race, so they're mostly where they should be, and this is almost a perfect reverse grid in terms of pace here. If we're being honest, because none of those leaders fell back during the opening race, as we do sometimes see in race one.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. They had their issues. Oh, the start's up already.
That was quite quick, wasn't it? I was surprised about that. Red lights will come on then for the second race here at Oulton Park, and we will get underway. David Beasley going nowhere off the start for whatever reason, and he's already back outside the top five. Here we go in towards turn one, free wide through the middle for Phil Jocelyn as he holds on to second place. As drivers oh no, big crash, and McCutcheon's involved, so are both the LeMays. Oh my word,
Maxwell!
Everybody. Maxwell gets into contact. I think only Robert Woodward and Phil Jocelyn have gotten away cleanly there. Look at the front two. They're miles in front. We've not seen anything like this in this series for quite some time. More than 3/4 of the field caught up in an accident on lap one.
And I don't even know. I think it started here with Damien G. I've got a funny feeling it started with Damien G. And he clips Colin Wynne, I believe. He goes on the grass. Wynne's already out of control.
Yeah, Wynne's out of control. And then you're in the mid-pack here. You're absolutely out of control. And then straight into Maxwell. And that's what's done Maxwell quite a lot of damage there. Not really any fault of his own. So there are cars everywhere. There's McCutcheon getting back going again. He's 8th place at the moment. But look at Maxwell. Race 1 winner. Looking for a good race and round here today. It's not going to happen because he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap, surely.
Yeah, G, McCutcheon, Beasley, Michael LeMay, Paul LeMay.
No.
And we've lost, Maxwell is off again.
Well, he just can't control the car with the damage he's got. He will have to come in here. I think it could be rear right suspension actually collapsed entirely. So, some corner of the car is collapsed because that car is not handling normally. He'll make his way into the pit lane. Well, this is going to be a very strange race from here on in. 3 of the drivers are caught to the field already in pit lane. Let's have another look at it.
This is on board with LeMay.
Yeah, from Paul LeMay. They'll have it in front of him, and I think it's the John McCutcheon spin that gets into the side of LeMay, and that kind of causes a secondary accident down towards the back here.
Yeah, he goes on the grass, and then he just loses it. Into Gonzaga into LeMay. Hutch goes round. And I wonder though, if that was because he was losing that start battle with Maxwell. Maxwell jumped him on the start, and I'm wondering if that was part of the pressure here as well. Look, Maxwell's already done him here. He's already gone past him in turn 1. And unfortunately for McHutchison, he's got to try and run it out because there's just nowhere for him to go. Then chaos kicks off. Then Maxwell gets hit by G there. Damien G's going backwards. Yeah. Nothing he could do whatsoever. And I'm wondering if it was because of the fact that Maxwell run him out and opened up the steering a little bit on that run into turn 1, and that basically is what put Hutch on the outside. And now this is the only battle we've got on track between 1 and 2. Everybody else is so spread out because of the accident.
What a bizarre field we have at the end of only 2 laps. Robert Woodward leading ahead of Phil Jocelyn. Mike Bousson set the fastest lap overall, that last lap by the way, and he could be one to watch for the race win here. As you can see him in the background. John McHutchison's going to try and get into some better positions. He'll need the points, but Maxwell will as well. He's already emerged from the pit lane, as Bird, LeMay and Wynne as well. But what a bizarre field. I don't remember a race like this that's seen such a calamity off the start. We have seen it once or twice in the last few seasons. I can't quite remember where, if I'm honest with you, a real first lap incident like that one, but to see any field spread apart like this at the end of lap 2 is very, very abnormal.
Yeah, it is completely, and I can't remember where that was as well, but I can only remember it happening once off the top of my head, and I think that had something to do with LeMay. I got a funny feeling it was Paul LeMay involved in that, but that's only just trying to pull out an old memory here. That, you know, don't trust me. My memory is like a goldfish, so it could completely be wrong. But for Bousson now, his opportunity he's got to take actually a race victory, it's all on the table for Bousson now. He's just got to clear Beansley, clear Woodward, job done. He's got to take the victory. This is his one chance. The man from Somerset has got his one chance here to take a victory. I believe he can, but he's got to believe he can.
Yeah, I believe he can as well. He's got a great chance here, and he might not get a better one for the next few moments. I have a feeling, by the way, that the last time we saw this kind of thing was actually when we first introduced the sprint and feature format with the reverse grid. I think in the first season we covered it on JPB, maybe for the last season of 2022.
Yeah,
I think maybe it was the last time we saw something like this happen. Although I can't remember what circuit or the circumstances surrounding it or anything with regards to those details. So yeah, it doesn't happen very often, to put it simply. Bousson having a bit of a look in towards the final corner there, but Phil Jocelyn had to defend, and he will defend it towards turn 1 as well. Bousson will look round the outside, but there's no point trying to go round there because it's not going to work for you. You're better off getting the run down the hill towards Cascades, and that's what he's done, side by side from turn 2, and he'll have the run out of turn 3. He's done the over and under again, but Jocelyn's defended relatively well. And because turn 4 is up next, I don't think Bousson's going to be able to manage this, although he could set it up for the braking zone at turn 5, given that this is easy to defend from as well. Jocelyn will hit the inside once again. Now Bousson's running into the problems of Oulton Park and trying to find a way through.
Yeah, he's got to be looking. If he's going to do it, he's got to get alongside him down here. Jocelyn's taking the inside, so from Bousson's point of view, he's got to try and carry that outside line. It didn't work well for McHutchinson, and it isn't going to work well for him. He's got to now try and get the run up through Clay Hill and up through the water tower to see if he can get alongside the Druids. He's not going to be doing it in Druids. If he does, he's unbelievably brave. Oh no! Oh yes, Jocelyn did hold it. I thought Jocelyn was going to go on the grass there, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it would have been very easy to do so, but great battling between the two of them, side by side, and Phil Jocelyn in the end couldn't hold off Mike Bousson, who gets through into second place. A good battle between them, and in the end Bousson worked that over really well with the inside line at Druids, and in the end you're not going to go around the outside there. George Gonzaga comes into the pit lane from 4th place. Clearly he's still got damage. I did see him make contact actually a couple of times on that opening lap as Luke Maxwell gains a place on Jamie Bird, although he gives it back again. Well, I'm sure he didn't give it back, I'm sure he had it stolen away from him by Jamie Bird, and he did indeed. Similar battling towards Druids, you would imagine, actually.
Oh.
We see Gonzaga back out in the pit lane again. This is about for 8th place.
Yeah, Colin Wynn's back in there as well. So Wynn's not entirely happy, of course, clearly at the moment. Hutchinson's got Michael LeMay currently in front of him here as well. Maxwell's got Bird. Am I wrong in thinking that Robert Woodward turned up? Did he only do a couple of races last season? And he won one of them?
Well, I'm not sure about that. As Maxwell makes his way down the inside, by the way, of turn 4 to get up into 8th place. I'm not sure if Woodward won a race or not. You might be right. Colin Wynn's in chat a little bit now. He might not be any longer, but wonder if someone better informed with better memories than us can maybe recall these kind of things. But I certainly can't. To be honest with you, I still think he's second favourite in this race compared to Mike Booson at the moment, because there's a bit more pace for Booson and there's time on his side as well. We're not even halfway through this one yet.
Yeah, something is telling me that Woodward only turned up for 1 or 2 races last season or the season before, and he took a win. I'm sure he did. Maybe I'm losing my memory here. I think he may have. Yeah, Colin Wynn's there as well, saying I think he may have. And he's done the same again. He's only turned up. What is it? This is his 2nd race, is it? I think he's done. Third. So, Gonzaga into Cascades.
Oh no. And this is on the other side of a pit stop, by the way, that's put him right near Jamie and G, and he's not going to get going quickly enough for Maxwell and Bird, so that's another position for those two. A real disappointed day for Gonzaga, considering the pace he's had. He was, he had a bit of a better time in things in race 1. I think he could have competed for the race win.
I think so as well, but Maxwell is trying to open up the gap to Bird now. Woodward is looking quicker than Booson. 120.37 for Woodward and a 120 for Booson. So Booson did take 3 attempts out of him. Yes, Colin Wynn, you may be right. David Ward was also in a pink radical, so there is a possibility that it might be David Ward, but I'm sure Robert Woodward got a win. I'm sure there was talk of it in the chat that he took a victory, and I just can't think where it was here currently at the moment, but I'm sure he did. McHutchison's cleared off away from Michael LeMay, and Luke Maxwell is slowly opening the gap up from Jamie Bird. So there we go. Yeah, this has been a very bizarre race, I'm not going to lie. It's not one that we would normally see, and I bet from Colin Wynn's point of view it'd be probably one he don't wish to see again, to be honest.
Yeah, he's already out this race along with David Beasley as Luke Maxwell makes his move on Damien G, who's overtaken there, so that's 6th place for Maxwell, and that might well be the limit now. So there's more than 20 seconds ahead to Michael LeMay, and even though Maxwell will be a bit quicker, you'd imagine, he won't be that much quicker. To close in by about 3 seconds a lap, and I can't see that happening over the course of this race. John McHutchison might still get a podium out of all this. I've got to be honest with you, less than 4 seconds between him and Phil Johnson at the moment. But first of all, Jamie Bird has got to get up ahead of Jamie G, and that's going to be possible very easily. I think G must be down. I mean, it's with the straight line speed he's got there.
Yeah, I think it was. He just got done there, didn't he? But he was involved again at the incident at the beginning. To be honest, the only man that was involved with the incident that hasn't pitted. Everybody else around him who was also involved have pitted. Maxwell, Bird, Gonzaga, Paul LeMay, obviously Colin Wynn's been in, he's pitted like 3 times. David Beasley was also in and called it a day as well. So, yeah, it's been an interesting one. Woodward's gap now with Booson is down to a second. Did I cause the lap 1 incident? Well, let's just say between you and Damien G, I don't think you did either of you proud. Is that a fair analogy, I think, Ewan?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to judge, really. I think what happens. I don't know how to judge that one thing, to be honest, because to be honest, G and Wynn were both having their separate. Their own.
Let's have a look.
In front of the entirety of the field, which is not ideal. That's G on the outside and Wynn on the inside, and yeah, to be fair, Wynn is the one who loses it first, so maybe. But you know, I always think that there's slightly diminished responsibility when you've actually lost the car in front of people. You're not really in any control of what's going on after that. So yeah, it's Colin was certainly the first one to move the car, but there's nothing wrong with that. But no, I wouldn't say it's all entirely the whole thing is his fault, if you see what I mean.
I think there's a bit. Come on, look, I've met Colin. He can take it on the chin. Yes, Colin, you were primarily responsible for the incident as well. You just did. You'd already gone first. You hit Damien G, who was on the grass. But yes, I'm sorry, sir. You were primarily responsible.
He could have done that on any other lap in the race, and we almost wouldn't have noticed because there's not 10 drivers behind him. So it's quite unlucky in that respect because it could have happened at any time. It just happened to be when there was 10 people piled on top of him, which all of whom were involved, unfortunately, in the crash that ensued afterwards. So it's a bit unfortunate in that sense, I suppose. But yeah, it's something we don't see very often, as we've said many times. Jamie G has exited the pit lane, by the way, as the battle for the lead is very much going on. We're over the half distance mark now, and Mike Wilson has left himself plenty of time to make this move, and Robert Woodward now.
Yeah, definitely. He's got about 7 laps to go. Hutch is having a good old battle here with Jocelyn once more there. I've got a funny feeling this is going to be a move done here as well. We've got the front 4 battling away. I think Hutch is going to go and take that inside line into Old Hall, and he's going to be through. So Hutch will make that 3rd place. What about Woodward and Buson? Woodward's run wide. Buson's going to slip out the inside. He's going to be done. Almost contact. I've got a funny feeling this is going to run till Islands.
It was very close and not through. Thought Mike Wilson would have that, but not quite. As we see Michael LeMay out of the race for whatever reason, back to pit lane. He's gone off at turn 1, I think. I might prove my point really about Colin Wynne. He could have lost it at any time, and thankfully Michael LeMay lost it on his own and didn't take anyone else out with him. But yeah, I think that might be what's exactly happened to LeMay. Let's see what this battle for the race lead has to offer, though, because Buson is very close to Woodward. On the outside again, this is exactly what he did to Jocelyn not so long ago. He went from the outside to the inside, got through there into Druids, and took the place with little that Woodward could do in the end. Can't do it there, I'm afraid. Buson will have to wait for another lap, but he's still got 7 laps after this one.
Yeah, there's Colin Wynne. I better get grovelling in Discord as well. So poor old Michael LeMay, what did he do? Oh, he did a Damien G and a Colin Wynne all in the same time there, and went off and hit it into the wall. So yeah, there we go.
It could have happened at any point in the race, because that demonstrates it. And fortunately, Michael LeMay, well, fortunately for everybody else, Michael LeMay's only taken himself out in that incident, but unfortunately it happened at the start for Colin Wynne. So sometimes these things work out and sometimes they don't, as we've had a prime example of in this second race. Bit of a mistake from Robert Woodward there, and Mike Buson is very close. He'll have a better run out of turn 5 here, and I'm going to presume it's going to be almost like watching a replay now of that previous battle on the previous lap. Now move forward to this next one as we approach the final third of this race.
Yeah, he's got to try and get a massive overspeed, and he's just not getting it going through here. He's got to now try to cut back. Woodward's got a little bit out of shape here as they're going up into that Teeth Clay Hill, and now once more going through Druids as well. Wilson's looking at the inside. That's the thing, I don't get that. I don't get that. That's the bit I don't get, because he had no intent on going through the move. So why jeopardise it to lose time? Follow him through on the racing line. I'm not quite sure what Mike was really thinking, because now he's got to go again. He's got 4 attempts to try and make up. I would have kind of sat there and got a better run out down into Old Hall, down into Lodge, sorry, rather than trying to put yourself off that line and now got to make 4 attempts back again. That seems a little bit confusing for me.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure it was the best idea. We might be waiting for that mistake from Woodward, and he very nearly got one there. That was a bit wide through turn 3, and Buson just closes it again. A little bit wide even on the entrance to 4, but maybe that's just Woodward's line. He'll have a look, will Buson force Woodward on the defensive again, and he's a lot closer on this occasion on the run down the back straight, or through this bend in the road, I suppose, towards Knickerbrook now. He will duck out, get very far alongside. Maybe he'll have this have a go round the outside, all the way round. We don't see this very often. They very nearly make contact on the run up towards it, but Woodward fires in, and this time Booson's got a better exit. He'll just be able to duck out alongside enough here. On the inside in towards Druids, what he was looking for last lap. He's much further alongside this time, and he's got it done as well. Into the lead for Mike Booson, ahead of Robert Woodward. In the end, a very good pass, but it did take quite a few laps of waiting.
Yeah, my only fear for that is you can see him just about coming into the picture. Look in the background. He's been pulling out a second per lap over these two out in front, and that of course is John McHutchinson. So he is pulling gap, he's bringing time down on these guys here as well, so he's got to be careful. 1:19.99, 1:23.7 for Woodward, and a 1:19.4. so McHutch is coming, and he's looking like he could be involved here unless they can get round these 4 laps very, very quickly. This could easily be a battle for the lead, or at least a battle for second place.
Yeah, I think it'll be a battle for second. Booson should be able to get away from Woodward here, you would imagine, unless the slipstream is going to play a major role here in keeping them together. I think Booson will possibly take this by more than a second, but let's wait and see. Glide through Knickerbrook and really uses all the road, but McHutchinson is closing very, very quickly. 2 seconds it is now. He actually gained more than a second on that previous lap because there was so much battling going on. Dips below 2 seconds, and in the end, despite being caught up in the incidents and even having a spin on his own, John McHutchinson having contact of his own in this in turn 1 through on this race, he's still going to finish up the day with 2 second places in a season that is going really, really well for him.
Well, you're presuming he's going to get past Robert Woodward, I presume. We're saying he's going to get 2 second places.
I think he will, yeah.
All right, okay, 1.7 to go. Right. Colin Wynn, am I going to assist Booson in taking the top podium? You may well do there as well. That's more of a possibility. Comms of the other commentator are a bit quiet, really? Okay, you're the only one that said on lap 15 of race 2, so there you go. Ben Underdown, is Hunter Hutch going to make it? Well, that's going to be the question, I think, here, Ewan, as well. Is he going to, do you think he's actually going to get Woodward before the end of the race?
I do. I think there's enough laps remaining in this one for McHutchinson to get there and do the second place as well, but whether he actually does in reality or not is a different thing. But look at how quickly he's closed in. 1.3 seconds now is the margin between Woodward and McHutchinson. A second and a half between them. It's coming down lap after lap, and Booson might even be looking over his shoulder here, a little bit worried as well, because maybe McHutchinson's got enough time left in this race to take them both. That really would be something special.
Oh, I hope not. I've got to be honest. Can Booson take his first victory in, I don't know, 3 seasons? 4 seasons?
Ages. Yeah, ages.
4 seasons it's got to be, isn't it? Since we started. So I'm trying to work out how many seasons it's been. 4? 3?
Well, I actually don't know how many seasons it's been since Booson took a win, but a very long time. And it doesn't win very often either. So it'd be good to see him manage it, but whether he actually will or not is another story. I think Maxwell's quite close to Phil Johnson as well for 4th place. So all in all, the main championship contenders have actually recovered points quite well today in this second race.
Yeah, I think Jocelyn's got damage. I think Maxwell's just going to go breezing past him here. It looked like Jocelyn had a moment himself, and he did. Oh, he's had an even bigger one. He ain't stopping that. Sorry, Phil, there's a barrier there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, as soon as you go off an island, it's all done and dusted there as well. Right, back up here with this. But Hutch is now 4 attempts back from Woodward. Bouson's only got 2 laps. Yes, Colin Wynn, it will be his, if he gets it, it will be his first win under JPB. So he can't blame us anymore.
Really?
Yes.
Well, he's put question marks at the end there.
No,
I'm not
it is.
Convinced it is.
It is.
Is it? Okay.
It is. It literally would be his first win under JPB because he has not won. That's why I said it's at least 4 seasons since we've been doing this, and it will be. I've got a funny feeling his first win. And He hasn't.
I reckon it's got to be 2021 or earlier, maybe.
Yeah, because he threw it away.
Because
Remember, he was leading in Watkins, wasn't he, by an absolute mile, and then threw it away in the chicane.
And the Fuji race where he didn't
Yep.
fuel his car up enough. There's so many occasions. Some of these things could only happen to Mike Boutsen as well, by the way. But anyway, John McCutcheon is here, and he might be about to ruin the party entirely because he's on the inside of Robert Woodward now, who's surely going to take home this podium, but he would like it to be second rather than third. McCutcheon's on the inside, and he's through at Knickerbrook, and with a second's margin, Mike Boutsen is running for his life out front with not long to go in this race now.
I'm not going to lie, right, I know we're supposed to be impartial, but come on, Mike Boutsen, I've got to be honest, he is absolutely sprinting always, he's trying to go here. You can imagine he is like a rabbit being chased by a fox at the moment, and he needs to get away. I don't care what anybody says in YouTube chat. Go Mike Boutsen, final lap of the race. Is he going to get it under the first ever win under JPB, or is Hutch going to get him with 8 tenths here as well? I'm not going to lie. Come on, Mike.
Let's see. He's got a great opportunity to do so after he came out the other side of lap 1 pretty much unscathed in the end. Well, loads of those around him got damaged, got into incidents like John McCutcheon behind. Boutsen kept things clean through that opening lap. Now he's leading the race. Has been for a little while. He's got reigning champion John McCutcheon in the form of his life just behind. And not too far away, maybe with another lap or two. He would have had to fight with his teammate for this one. But it looks like he's got enough temps, barring a mistake now, to take this one. He's just keeping things a little bit sensible for him, but not quite pushing it to the absolute limit because he knows he doesn't quite have to. He'll put the distance on Robert Woodward, who should be third at the end of this race. McCutcheon's gaining really quick at the end. He's flying over the penultimate corner at Druids there. He will just run out of laps. 1 or 2 more and he might have got there, but out of the final corner, Mike Boutsen's going to manage it. He is going to win at Oulton Park in race 2 by less than half a second. Mike Boutsen breaks a long victory drought by winning here at Oulton Park by a very small margin over John McCutcheon. His heart would have been pounding on that final lap.
Oh, he would have been having palpitations. He would have been absolutely making sure he hit every braking point, every possible turn, every possible corner, and he did it. That is, I'm sure that is his first one ever under JPB, and I'm sure it is because he was blaming since we took over. He has never won, and he did win this time around, his first one ever. And as Colin Wynn says, he has to thank me in the interview as well. He's not on chat, Colin. I can't just pull him in, so unfortunately he's not there. But yeah, nobody's here actually, to be honest. I can't see anyone. Come on, I know we're supposed to be impartial, but that is a win well deserved from the man from Froome in Somerset. Absolutely incredible.
It is, and I've done a few seasons even before JPB, and I don't remember Mike Boutsen ever winning. That's what I mentioned, not been since 2021, surely. Oh no, and they've hit each other now, but it's all very academic for Boutsen and Richardson, who were just enjoying their moment at the end of the race, and now Boutsen will pull off to the side and hopefully come to chat with us in a few moments' time. But what a win from him. What a bizarre race as well here at Oulton Park. The opening lap incident splitting the field right apart. And there were huge gaps. You can see 2 gaps of more than 20 seconds but inside the top 10, which really doesn't happen very often. But the top 3 were covered by not much in the end, and John McCutcheon did finally get real pace on towards the end of that race, as we suspected he might, and he will extend his championship lead as well. His nearest championship rival, who was here today, was Mike Boutsen, and he will just extend the margin over him very slightly to probably more than 70 points now, but we've got drop weeks to figure out, and we've got plenty of time to figure that out as well over the remaining 8 rounds in the remainder of this season. It's Mike Boutsen, apologies, who takes the win though, just ahead of John McCutcheon and Robert Woodward third. ahead of Luke Maxwell, nearly half a minute back. Jamie Bird held off George Gonzaga and Paul LeMay to the line. That was quite close. Between them and Jamie G was just over a minute back. Phil Johnson 3 laps down with Michael LeMay inside the top 10 despite not finishing. Colin Wynne didn't finish either. David Beasley never saw past the opening lap, and Scott Lear never took the start of that race either. Well, that was quite an exciting finish towards the end, and John McCutcheon maybe ran out of laps by 1 or 2. He was pretty close to getting that race win away from Mike Bookson.
Yeah, he was. I wonder if, though, he sat there like, can I really do it? You know what I mean? I don't know from him. There he is. He's there ready. I gotta do something for Mike. Just bear with me while I'm having my own little moment here as well. So you're more than welcome to pull him in.
Okay, yeah, that's all fine. We'll do that now. Mike Bookson, welcome in. Good to have you here. And we were I wasn't I hope you enjoyed the fanfare.
Yeah, it's nice.
We were wondering amongst ourselves when the last time you actually won in this series was.
I think it was the first season of the SR10.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Maybe. Although I was saying earlier on, I don't know if I've ever seen you win, which made me think it was got to be at least a year, maybe a year and a half since you've won. But maybe that's not true.
I think you were there, but it was a long time ago. It was with a previous employer. I'm not anymore.
Well, I was half of it, so let's calm down there.
A very good broadcaster.
Let's calm down. Let's talk about the race a little bit, race 2, because it was a bit bizarre, to be honest, from our perspective. Tell us a little bit about the start and where you sort of found yourself after everyone had kind of dispersed off to the side of the road.
Yeah, that was mayhem. I was there and I thought to myself, yeah, I've got past him. And then there's another, I don't know who it was, and there was another one just coming towards me, and I thought, and it just missed me, and I think it got my Luke or somebody like that, and I thought, well, their misfortune will be my, hopefully, my saviour. And, it was a lot of pressure, I'll tell you. It was all right, and, I had thought myself, I've got plenty of time. Phil, I wanted to do it as cleanly as possible, get past them, same with Robert, and they were very, very good. Good racing, but then obviously because I was a bit courteous, then there's John McCutcheon right on my tail, last lap on it. It has that effect on me, like I've said before. I got a bit sweaty.
I did notice that.
When you've got old Maverick behind you, it's
it's pretty difficult. I mean, towards the end though, I mean. How many laps do you think it would have taken? If this race had been, 20, 22 laps, how do you think it would have been different? Because I was saying in commentary at the time that, John might have only needed one more lap maybe to get past you there. What was your feeling on it?
It's a hard one to judge. I was being super careful on the throttle. I was doing the bare minimum because once John had passed Robert, I thought to myself, do the math in my head. How much can I lose here, there? I probably had enough to battle if I really was hard with it, but it's John. He would have scared me off the track probably.
Yeah, it is a scary prospect. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Mike, before we let you go?
I'll give a shout out to John and the team. I've had it's not been a great start of the season, but we've been working at it and you are broadcasting a brilliant job as usual, boys. And
Colin Wynne, you got to thank Colin Wynne for causing the chaos.
I'll send him a check or something.
Because he said you better thank me. Get Mike in, and he better thank me for him winning the race.
There was no strategy pre-arranged, I promise you.
Crashgate all over again. We've got more soundboards going. I didn't realise this was a thing that we had. Anyway, Mike, congratulations. We'll let you go and then enjoy the win here tonight.
Thank you very much, boys.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you soon, boys. All right, calm down.
Getting excited with the buttons here. Mike Brewson there, winner of race 2 here at Oulton Park, just ahead of John McCutcheon, who joins us now as well. John, welcome in. Second place in both races, actually, here tonight. But tell us a little bit about race 2 and the end there. Did you think that you could overtake Mike, or did you think you were going to run out of laps from quite early on there?
Yeah, I was a bridesmaid tonight. I just didn't have the pace on Luke in the first race. Luke was too fast, and we had a good battle with Paul. And in the second race, all hell broke loose in turn 1. You know, Luke, I just kept as wide as I could, and Luke just understeered into me and turned me into the grass. And then after that, I thought I had more damage than what I had, so I was quite happy that I didn't really get that much damage and just get the head down and go for it.
Yeah, you did get away with it somewhat there. Just having a little look at the incident, I was having quite big trouble telling Maxwell and Gonzaga apart, so I don't know actually who you hit there, but maybe you're right. Maybe it was Luke, but yeah, turn 1, lap 1 anyway, was very, very messy, I would have to say. Obviously, you span as part of that as well, but I can't remember the last time I saw something like this in the Radical Race series in terms of the amount of incidents that we got. Yeah, I think it was actually Luke that you did get into the side of it in the end. But
yeah, I don't know if that was contact. He did understeer.
No, just got pushed.
Yeah, he just understeered out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it just pushed me really wide onto the grass, and then I lost the rear. And I think I clipped George when I was spinning back onto the track. But I don't know what happened ahead of me. That was nothing to do with me.
That was Colin Wynn causing chaos.
As we've made thoroughly clear over the course of the last half an hour.
I was trying to psych Mike out on the last lap to tell him what to do a Busson.
I've got to ask John, would you have taken Mike's first win in years, by what we can figure, would you have taken him?
What do you think?
I want to know. John, say the words on the broadcast. Would you have gone past him?
If I had the chance, obviously, I can't help myself. I can't help.
You would have even let him get one win in 2023.
I'm really happy when it deserved it. So good for him.
Oh, mate.
I don't know why you expected anything different, to be honest, James. But
well, I
there
thought
we
he
are.
might have just sat there and let him take the victory. You know what I mean? Mike's smart, he worked hard for it. He weaved his way through the grief. So yeah, maybe.
You can't give him the victory. He's got to earn it, and he earned it.
He did earn it. He did earn it. He sweated out, bless him. He earned it.
He did. He certainly did. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, John, before we let you go this evening?
A shout out to Mike on his first win. Congratulations. It's long overdue. It's a cracking driver, so well done.
Absolutely. Congratulations to yourself as well for 2 second places, John. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Take care, mate.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
McCutcheon, second place in both of the races at Oulton Park here tonight. Now, let's bring in race 1 winner, Luke Maxwell, shall we? Even though he wasn't in the podium, race 2 still in first in race 1. Luke, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Let's start with the first race first, because it was quite a good one for you. You just seemed to demolish everyone else with the pace. Is this a particular strong circuit for you, or did things just go your way? What was race 1 happening for you?
Yeah, race 1 went exactly to plan. That's what I was aiming for. But I was playing a lot with setups this week, trying to get the car come out of the turns without losing too much grip. I think you've got to run fairly high downforce there. But I kind of managed to land on a setup that worked quite well, and I was putting some good laps in practice. So I thought come race 1, I know it's the easier one if you start on pole, and luckily managed to get a gap at the start there and maintain it throughout. So I was very, very pleased with that.
And race 2, I've been instructed by Colin Wynn to stop talking about lap 1 on race 2. But what I wanted to know actually was what kind of damage you actually had on the other side of it, because I mean it was clear to see something was wrong with your car, but what exactly was it?
Yeah, so I think, well, first of all, I pushed John out on the start on the first corner. I think I should have held a tighter line there, and he span, but kind of worked out for him, I think, in the long run. But I think just as Damien G was coming back off the grass, he caught the suspension, and the car was trashed. Couldn't the engine was knackered, the suspension was knackered, so I was just limping round to try and get in the pits, and then when I came out, I thought, right, head down, let's see what we could do. I was thinking like maybe 7th or 6th might be my best shot, but yeah, a couple of guys fell off. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Phil Justin there near the end. I think I was back basically through on him and then trying to ease off to get round the corner, from the inside, and I don't know if that caught him out a bit. So apologies to Phil. Bumped him off there.
Well, it was a good recovery from you either way, despite a trip down the pit lane. How much more are we going to be seeing of you this season, Luke? Because we've only seen you at 2 of the 4 rounds so far. Is it going to be more consistent schedule for you?
I've crammed all my holidays into May and June, so I should be around now for the rest of the season. So my plan is to make every one now.
That is good to hear. And finally, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Let's give a shout out to Simon Edwards and hope he's enjoyed his holiday. And feel free to extend it as long as you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't realise he was on holiday actually this week. But I think he told us last week, didn't he? But I entirely forgot. But anyway, yeah. We'll see him back next week as well. Luke, congratulations on the race 1 win, particularly here tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, all the best.
Thanks so much, Luke Maxwell there. First place in race 1, joining us, and I'm struggling to drag him out, to be honest. Oh, there we are. Paul and May is the last driver waiting for us to have a chat, so we're going to do that now. Paul, welcome in. Good to have you here with us this evening after what's been a very bizarre second race and first race as well, where you were up there, certainly. How has your evening been overall?
Yeah, really enjoyed it, Ewan. It's been a lot of fun. Great fun in race 1, and then unfortunately in race 2 it all sort of got a bit haywire, and I just pushed as hard as I could the whole race to see if I could catch George, but he just had the edge. So but it's been an enjoyable evening. Race 1 was fantastic with John. So it's great.
And also as well, in terms of race 1, you were right up there with the main contenders, really. John McCutcheon just took you at the end there for second place as well. But is that something we're going to see a bit more from you this season? Because we got a bit of that from you in the first half, especially of last season. You were mixing it up there with the top guys. Are you hoping to do that throughout this season as well?
Well, that's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. But they're tough races, and I kind of held the gap with John for around about a second for a few laps, and the pressure was on, and I had a slide in Knickerbrook, and that was it. John was on me, and it's when John's going for a move, he doesn't mess about, so he got me, and that was it. But I tried to sort of come back, but yeah, it's great to be out there with those guys and learning some bit of racecraft and things like that from them as well. So it's all good.
Yep, it was good racing, certainly. And just like Luke Maxwell as well, we haven't seen an awful lot of you so far this season. I think this is only your second round. How much more are we going to be seeing of you this season? Are you going to be here for the remainder of the season?
Well, you haven't seen me because I've had really bad trouble with my arm, which I've just had some cortisone injections for. So I had a couple of weeks out. I should do probably the next 3, and then I'm on holiday, so I'm going to miss the back end of the season. But hopefully we'll come back strong next season and hopefully be up towards the front end fighting.
Absolutely. Well, we'll certainly enjoy the next few weeks of you being around, Paul. Congratulations on
Thank you, mate.
A nice evening at Oulton Park, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, Ian.
Thanks very much to Paul and May, and the round of applause. The soundboards come out again for Paul and May at the end. That is just about it then for round 4 at Oulton Park in the Radical Race Series. James, it maybe didn't quite live up to what we saw 2 seasons ago, but that would be almost impossible to do based on the race we had that season. But we certainly got our fair share of drama, and race 2 was unlike anything we've seen for quite some time in this series.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things as well, that incident there that unfortunately was down to Colin Wynn once more as well. So, at the end of the day, it's been an exciting one. Mike Bousson cannot blame JPB anymore for not winning because he's just taken his first victory. So fair play to him as well. But we've seen it all here to do. I do apologise for the picture, guys. The session did end, and it fortunately brought up some wonderful picture of a helmet. So we've managed to swap it over. But yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to how the rest of the season goes, to be honest.
Certainly am as well. Next week we'll be at Laguna Seca for another round that consists of 11 laps followed by 18. So make sure you join us for that. Subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel for lots more racing going on tonight and every night here, including the weekend as well. So make sure you do that and check out all the other racing that's going on. But for now, until we will see you in 1 week's time at Laguna Seca in the Radical Race Series, I've been Ewan O'Leary, James Parfitt alongside me, and we'll see you in 1 week's time. It's goodbye for now.